Hey guys, it is me, Tanya, founder of the TNG Design Group Limited. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Now, in this particular video, we're going to continue the conversation, the idea of how to make sure you turn your story into a winning strategy. But this time, we're actually focusing on beauty business owners. Now, when it comes to branding for beauty business owners specifically, yes, there are some key changes that we've got to switch around based off of obviously what I've spoken to you guys about before. However, we're just making them now super relevant to beauty business owners specifically. Now, as a beauty business owner, I'm pretty sure there's been so many different ways, yes, that you can tell your story, but how do you make sure that you keep it super concise, super focused, and equally super direct so that your audience can actually understand what it is that you're about in the first place? Because I'm sure you'll agree, your industry is super populated. That means that your competition or the person who's essentially doing something similar to you could either be down the road, could be next door to you, or literally within the same vicinity as you. So the question is, how do you make sure that you particularly stand out over them? And yes, of course, they can be your collaborators at some point, but at the same time, how do you make sure that you even stand out as that go-to expert for those who actually want to come and work with you in whatever capacity that may be? Well, you do that by way of literally sharing all these strategies that I'm going to be sharing with you in this particular video that will be coming up pretty soon. Before you do that, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel, because I share information and advice just like this. And it's all about branding, but more specifically, it's all about branding that suits you, what it is that you're about, and why it is that you're really doing it. Because branding is one of the most major tools and devices that could actually help you to get out of that feeling of being stuck, not knowing where to start, how to even make sure that you're reaching out to the right people or even who you should be connecting with. Branding is a clear-cut way that will allow you to do all of those things as well as stand out, show up in a way that's also congruent to your standards and beliefs. Because folks, when you realize that you are more than what you see, you're going to be able to talk about your business all the more clearer. You're also going to be making sure that anybody who comes across your path knows how to actually understand that, do you know what? Yeah, oh my gosh, this person is really for me. And more importantly, they're also going to know that you're the right fit for them more specifically. So with that in mind, make sure you go ahead and like, subscribe to this channel, and stick around to the very end of this video as well, because as always, I've got something cool to be able to make sure that not only do you just hear and listen to the advice that I'm actually sharing with you within this video, you're going to be able to take action with it straight away. Because I'm going to be sharing with you some really cool things that you need to be able to have, especially on your own personal checklist, to make sure that your brand levels up not only today but tomorrow, as well as consistently, to create that level of sustainability that you're looking for when it comes to the growth that you're also looking for too. So folks, without further ado, let's get straight into it. So okay, as you know, we're continuing on the conversation about how to make sure that you turn your story into a winning strategy. And this is more so specific to beauty business owners. Now, as a beauty business owner, like I said to you before, your industry is super saturated, meaning that there are so many people within your industry who are a part of the business space. Now, that's actually not a bad thing, simply because you know that there's a high demand within your industry. That therefore means that yes, people are actually looking for what it is that you do. Now, here's the tricky part. Because people are looking for what you do, there is actually a high volume of the amount of people who can do what you do. So how do you make sure that you actually stand out above that person? Well, you do so by way of your story, for one. Your story will actually help to position you as that go-to expert. And not only will it help you to be positioned as that go-to expert, people will then understand that you are actually the right fit for them. And they'll also understand that, do you know what, they're going to be in good care with you as well, more specifically. Because when you start thinking about all the key things that you've probably come across within your own experience yourself, the amount of people that you've seen that you cannot believe that they're actually practicing in that kind of way, or maybe, do you know what, maybe the amount of people that you actually admire. And yeah, okay, that's working for them. But now how can you make sure that it actually works for you more importantly? Well, you start positioning yourself as that go-to expert by way of your story, by way of, yes, tackling the start, the trigger, and equally the transformation element of your story. But now let's really hit home and create that focus as to how it can now make sense for you. So let's start at the start. So obviously I've shared this already in my previous videos. So now where this fits in with you as a business owner, a beauty business owner more specifically, You literally start at the start. So what was it that actually made you want to start within the beauty space to begin with? Was it a time in your life where, do you know what, you didn't feel all that beautiful, whatever beauty means to you? Was it a time in your life where, do you know what, yeah, I see all of what is out there and it's not for me. So let me make sure that somebody else who's feeling the same for me gets it, so that they know that they're not a misfit, so that they know that they don't have to belong in that typical space, but they're beautiful just the way they are. So what was your starting point? What was it that made you move into the beauty space? And it could be even more surface level in the sense where, do you know what, you needed something to start with. Beauty is something that you needed to do. And yeah, there we go. We're in it. We're in this industry. So sometimes, folks, you don't have to be super profound with your start, because sometimes it is just a case of a means to an end at the very beginning. But guess what? The passion actually develops by way of experience. And that's something that you can also continue to share as well. Okay? So I just wanted to stress that part. So now let's look at the idea of the trigger, the what made you move element. So when it comes to the beauty space, now start thinking about what was your passion that eventually developed into now a profession. Why did you become a beauty business owner? What was it that made you want to, do you know what, take it that one step further? But in doing so, what were your challenges that you met along the way? What was it that you experienced yourself and just witnessed that, do you know what, I definitely don't want to make sure that I make that a part of my own business. I want to do something different. I want to make sure that it stands out because of all these things that I stand for. How are you going to stand out by way of what it is that you stand for? Think about what that phrase means to you, simply because this is where you're going to start to differentiate yourself from all the other beauty business owners. Yes, probably doing some really cool things, but equally probably also not doing some cool things. So how are you going to differentiate yourself? Well, start thinking about how you can show up by way of what it is that you stand for. When it comes to beauty, you as a beauty business owner, you are doing so much more than what you're probably thinking that you're actually doing. You're not just creating somebody's really cool eyebrows. You're not just giving them a whole new makeup look. You're not just doing their hair. You're not just making them, feel a little less tense within their shoulders when they come to get a massage from you. No, you're doing something way more than that. You're helping somebody to feel like they can now conquer the world. You're helping somebody to feel like that, do you know what, they actually have a purpose that day. You're also helping somebody to feel like that they actually feel human that day. Because when you think about the type of client that you've got coming to you, they're coming to you for a reason, because maybe it's because of all those things. They don't necessarily feel like they are human that day. Maybe they feel like they've had so many people pulling at them, they don't even know who they are themselves. So being able to come to you is their moment of freedom. It's their moment to think. It's their moment to even just be in their own space. So you're providing a hell of a lot more than what you think. So now that I've shared that with you, now relate it to what it is that you've currently been experiencing by way of your clients. People share so much in that chair. So use those experiences to help you to understand exactly how it is that you're actually helping them. And also, when you're thinking of your trigger as well, the trigger when it comes to the idea of what turned your passion into an absolute profession, start thinking about, again, yes, those negative spaces, those negative things that you experienced. Remember when I was sharing in my previous video, when I got made redundant was actually the happiest point for me, because I always knew that what I was doing in my point of work at that time, I always knew that there was more to it. Maybe there's more to it for you too. So what is that element? Share that, talk about it. And by the way, folks, there could be actually several points. And if you are sharing it, especially on social media platforms, create it into a little series, because then what you're doing is starting to create intrigue. You're starting to create engagement. And that's what's super important, because you want to take people on this journey with you. Help them to understand that you get them, you understand them. But guess what? By way of the expertise and the credibility that you're now building and the experience that you've also had, you get them and you know how to help them, more importantly. That is super key. And it's something that unfortunately a lot of people overlook. So now, obviously, we've talked about the start. Then we're going on to talking about how you've then turned your passion into your profession. Now let's make sure we elaborate a lot more on the idea of you being that expert. So the transformation element. What did you do to become that expert? What did you do? Remember, we were talking about that journey that you're taking people on. What did you do in order to make sure that you not only became the expert, but equally you were able to get your qualifications? You were able to make sure that you worked with so many people. You were able to make sure that you helped to transform others' lives as well. What was that? Because when, again, you are sharing that, what you're actually doing is positioning your credibility even more. Because 9 times out of 10, folks, and even the people that I've come across myself, there's been so many people who don't talk about their expertise, who don't talk about their credibility, and equally who don't talk about their qualifications, the type of people that they've worked with. And the minute you start talking about those people that you've worked with, or even sharing within their testimonials as well, that's when you start to see a difference or the shift in your audience to not only to start listening, but now they're actually taking it in and start thinking like, oh my gosh, how can I now work with this person? Because I want to see myself as a testimonial, because I can actually see myself working or sitting in their chair while they work on me. So how are you making sure that you're letting that message be known? Because if you don't, well then, yeah, the process is going to be slightly longer, but at the same time, also the process means that, you know what, sometimes you're going to be hitting that brick wall. And that's annoying, right? Especially when you're continuously doing it. So let's stop doing it and start sharing more. So when you're creating your story and turning it into a winning strategy, you tackle, yes, the start of it. So the beginning as to how you came into the beauty space beforehand. Then you go on to your trigger. So the thing that turned your passion into an actual profession. Then you talk about the transformation. What is it that helped to build up your credibility, your expertise, more importantly? What was that you did in order to make sure that the experience that you had then trickled its way all through your journey, but at the same time also then positioned you in such a way that allowed you to help all these many people? And folks, this is all very doable, by the way, and I'm conscious that yes, I've shared a lot. However, this is all super doable simply because my clients have done it. I've helped them to do it. People are doing this, but not enough people are doing this in order to be able to start getting those clients that they actually want to work with. And that's the key part right there. Stop working with the people that you feel like you have to work with and start working with those that you really, really want to work with, especially those that you resonate with, especially those that align with you and appreciate you and really get to grips with what it is that you are doing. So folks, I hope that this video really resonated with you. Please go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel, but more importantly, share it with others who you feel that could also really benefit from listening to a video just like this. And on the note of listening to a video like this, please make sure that you do this next thing, okay? Now, I've shared these key things with you in order for you to go ahead and share them yourself, especially on your platforms. In order to make sure that you are really hitting home as to how it can actually suit you, you've also got to understand what's known as your brand power 3. And you can establish that by way of tapping into the very first link. It's my guide and essentially a checklist that will allow you to tap into 6 key principles, all with the idea of branding in mind, and more specifically your brand power 3. So in order to access it, you're going to have to click on the very first link that's within the description box below this video. Click on that link, fill in your details, and then I'll be able to send to you all these key things that you need to make sure that you're ticking off your to-do list when it comes to building your brand in a way that is noteworthy, but more specifically that is congruent to your standards and your beliefs, so that others can understand you, can appreciate what it is that you're doing, and really get to understand why you are the right fit for them. So folks, please make sure that you go ahead and do that. Also, once again, like and subscribe to this channel, and I will see you on the other side.